around me.
Here we go. It's the start of Summer Split, and it's the first interview I have done with Doublelift since he joined TSM. Of course, this coverage is brought to you by Alienware. What are you looking at, Peter, on the screen? You look like you're distracted, like you had another window open.
Yes.
Uh, so you lost to TL, which I'm sure felt really fucking bad, especially because you trash talked a ton beforehand. But then you dominated against Dignitas. So what is your overall verdict for this? I know you kind of talked about it in the Low Tigris interview, but how are you feeling after all of that?
I just feel really bad to lose, but especially to my old team, feels really bad. I really wanted to win that match because it's just nice to win against your old team. But it's not the first time that I lost my former team either, especially in regular season. So I know that there was a lot to learn there. They really outplayed us in every way. I think draft. I think our comps was really bad, so they must have had better team play, communication, and also just individual play. I think we had first game jitters where we weren't really committed to a lot of the fights, but also there was just some issues with our preparation and just generally the way that we played. So I'm not happy that we lost to Team Liquid, but I think we can definitely turn it around afterwards. So as far as the Dignitas thing, it was just a stomp. It was just completely one-sided. I don't know if we played amazingly. We actually made some mistakes, but I think we played fine. And the stomp felt good because we were on the receiving end of a stomp, and then told 180 that we just completely rolled them over. So yeah, that felt good. And I think I'm still pretty embarrassed about the loss, but I'm happy that we won against Dig.
How good is tactical? Because on the broadcast today, I felt like they were kind of hyping him up, and I guess talking about his damage percentage for yesterday. And so you've played against him. Obviously, you were on the same team as him previously. So what should people expect from this player? Is he like a new rising star for North American ADCs?
Yeah, I think tactical is actually pretty good. I said when I was on TL that if Team Strip would be really happy to have him on their team. I have actually nothing against him personally. I don't really have any negative feelings towards him whatsoever. I think he's actually a really positive dude. I think it's just unfortunate with the community putting us against each other, but we got along great when we were on the same team. He was a great player. He gave me some tips. I gave him some tips. Yeah, I think he's really good. Yeah. I don't know if he's literally Jesus of AD carry, but I think he has potential to be one of the top AD carries in the region for sure.
Nice. How much? So there was that video that you put out, and then there was the video that TL put out where they're laughing at the video that you put out. How much of this, hey, they should be scared, I was mistreated, I'm gonna crush them, is hyperbole and entertainment versus stuff that you actually genuinely feel whenever you think about TL and wanting to face them?
Really behind now.
I don't know. People just like to ask me a ton of baity questions about Team Liquid, just because they're my old team. But yeah, personally, I don't really care. I don't really understand the question, to be honest. What are you trying to
Are you paying attention?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so that's perhaps part of the reason you misunderstood the question.
No, I mean, I'm not paying attention to the communities.
Oh, sorry. I thought because it looked like you were zonking out again on the monitor. The question is, how much of sort of the animosity that you showed towards TL, or the whole they should be scared, I'm gonna take them down, I was mistreated. How much of that is what you actually feel versus you trying to hype up the rivalry for entertainment purposes? Because obviously you've always been really good at trash talking and building up the hype so that there's good storylines in the LCS and all that.
Well, I mean, it'd be really weird if I dispelled the illusion or something. I don't know, it's weird to say that it's just for entertainment purposes, but yeah, I mean, it kind of is. I don't think I mean,
it could be both.
Against Team Liquid.
it can be both, right? Where you both feel like it is like you really want to dominate them, but also you don't have as many negative feelings, or it could just be like pure entertainment.
Yeah, I
I
really
think,
wanted to beat them for
yeah.
sure.
Jensen said he didn't even remember that you were in the game whenever he was playing against you, and I later interviewed him and he said it wasn't like a slam against you. It was more just like he's so in the zone and focused on what's happening that he's not really thinking about the implications of that match. Did you have a similar thing when you were facing TL, or did you have it in your mind throughout the whole game?
No, I mean, I think when you're playing on stage, you definitely completely zone all that stuff out. I think I'm totally with Jensen there. It's just afterwards you feel really bad.
Yeah.
Because, the community sentiment and all that stuff.
You mentioned with La Tigers that it's really good to be back with some of your friends. What's it like laning with Biofrost again? I mean, obviously we saw streams from you guys and all that stuff, but do you feel like he's different in any way after the couple of years that you guys weren't together?
Vincent's not super different from when I was playing with him. I think he has the same personality and sort of like, I think he has the same type of mentality and way of approaching things that I'd expected. So we didn't have we didn't have any problems to begin with. I think there's just a lot of things that we can do a lot better. There's not like something that I would say like obviously it stands out as like sometimes when you play together with a new duo, you're like, oh wow, we really need to work on like this thing. But I think for us there's just a lot of things that we can be doing more and better and perfecting. But like I think our baseline is pretty good, and I've been really having fun playing with Vincent for sure.
Well, and I guess I also just mean, is it easy to get back into it? Does it just feel like old times? Some couples over years and years and years, they get back together.
I can't even remember the old times of how it was, but I do remember like we were really dominant and we pretty much never lost lane. These days, I think the competition is like way harder, so we need to play with less mistakes, play more creatively, just play overall more perfect to get leads. Back then, like I think just based on mechanics alone, just like last hitting ability alone, I would be ahead in every lane. And nowadays, hardly anyone misses CS for free, so you're really like looking for those like small advantages that you can get that will add up and create like big advantages. But back then, I think it was just a lot more relaxed. I guess it was a lot less. It was a lot less. I just think we had to do a lot less to be as good.
Yeah.
If that makes
Parth
sense.
Seems to have taken a lot of criticism from the community over time, and I think his announcement as head coach was somewhat controversial. So I'm kind of curious what your take is. Parth, you've now been on the team for a little bit. Compared to what you see, perhaps, I guess, on Twitter and subreddits and those types of places. Again, I don't know how much you see, but compared to the criticism from the community, what do you think of Parth working with him again?
I haven't really been keeping up with the community as far as their like reaction to Parth, but I will say that I think he can do a good job. I think he can also do a really bad job. It just depends on his approach, his individual, like just like any player, you'd say like any highly competitive role, it's just all about the way that they're able to perform under pressure, the way that they like have a process for doing things, and his individual skill at his job. And obviously I believe that Parth will do a good job, but I think the criticism is definitely warranted because in the past Parth did not do a good job, and that's just the way the community works. Like they're hard to forget those kind of things until you have a good performance as a player, as a coach, whatever it is, and then they'll essentially forgive you for that.
Right.
So yeah, I don't really know exactly what the community is saying, right? But I think people are like, oh, like I'm skeptical because it didn't work out in the past, or like they have these reasons. Generally, I think we'll all wash away when like we win or we have a good streak.
Well, and what is Parth's specific role as the coach for the team? Because you know, I've talked about this a ton on Hotline League, but I will always remember Rift Rivals last year, where you sat down with the EU coaches and just talked about the differences in the way that coaching works across Europe and North America, and where the European coaches are more facilitators of conversation. So is that?
I think part that right now is that he is a facilitator of conversation and he's a mediator. But what I think you need a lot of the time in this like day and age is you need and he's like obviously working on this, but you need a coach that has the ability to draft and execute on his vision of the draft. Because like every player is just gonna have their own thoughts and feelings, and once you if you like value that too much, if you like are only mediating and not actually executing on your own opinion, then I think you just get pulled in too many directions. And I think Parth is definitely able to like learn. I think he's a smart person and he's going to be able to like learn these kind of things, but it's just going to take a lot of time to figure that out. I think like maybe the G2 idea would I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure exactly. Like, it's so hard to define like what makes an amazing coach. I think depending on the team, you need different things. But for our team, we have 2 rookie players. I think Parth needs to have a more of a dominant opinion, and for him to do that, you know, he needs to build up his confidence and his skills as a coach.
Gotcha. All right, fascinating. Well, other than that, I was just wondering if you could recommend me that Michael Jackson documentary that you said that you watched.
Lol, yeah. It's called The Last Dance. Check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Hey, thanks so much for the interview, Peter. I know you said you have to run off to a meeting. Is there anything you want to say to any of the fans out there? Especially, you mentioned that you feel like right now the internet hates you. I don't know if you have anything you want to say to either the haters or the people that are still sticking around with you.
No, I think I just appreciate the support from my fans and TSM fans, and I think like it's just one of those things where TSM and also myself have not been successful recently, and so it's just like a time for people to come out and be negative. That's just the way competition works. I don't really resent that. I don't think that that's like wrong. I'm not a super special snowflake that like needs people to say nice things about me for me to have confidence or for me to have like a lot of drive and motivation. But I do think that when people are positive about me and my team, it does motivate me in a way, and it motivates my teammates in a way. So I really do appreciate that. And I think in the end, the community will always bandwagon the winning team. That's just the way that it works. So if we win, the community's on our side again, and my side, if we're talking about personally. So that's always been my goal, or that's been my goal since the split started with TSM at least.
Well, thank you so much, Doublelift, for the interview. I'll let you get to that meeting. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Draft Buff and Alienware for sponsoring this video. Alienware has released some amazing new hardware since Spring Split. You might have missed it because, you know, you haven't been watching my ads talking about it, but they now have updates to their M15 and M17 line, their Area 51M, and also their Aurora. So basically, you know, all the stuff that we use here at Travis Gafford Industries to make stuff has been newly refreshed. And you can still use Travis 10 off, but you need to add Q2 at the end of it. Travis 10 off Q2 to save 10%. And there's a link in the video description, alienware.com/Travis, to check out their stuff. It really helps me out. Thanks so much.